Hello everyone and welcome back to Coding Wala Shree. This is part 7 of Stream API series where we are going to explore 5 useful terminal operations. Those are findFirst, findAny, allMatch, noneMatch and anyMatch. These methods are often underestimated, but these are most useful ones in real world applications. Now, if you are new here or jumping right into middle of the series, I recommend you to watch previous videos in this series. For example, part 1 covers what are Java streams. Part 2 covers 9 different ways to create streams. In part 3 to part 5, we have seen all the intermediate operations, for example, filter, map, flat map, distinct, sorted, and more. In the previous video, that is part 6 of this video series, we have started with terminal operations and we have covered for each versus for each ordered, then count, min, max, and 2 array methods. So in this video, we are continuing with the same project-like structure with employee, department, and address classes, having employee service, department service. In the lower levels, we have employee repository and department repository, as you already know by now. So let's grab ID and let's dive into it right away. I have created Stream Operations Part 7 demo class where we will be writing code for terminal operations findFirst, findAny, allMatch, anyMatch, and noneMatch. It belongs to Part 7 package which I have created for this video. findFirst and findAny, we will cover these two methods first. I have already created a method findDemo. It is a public static void method so that it can be called from the main method directly. What we are going to see is how to get a first number or any number from the stream of integers. So first we will play around stream of integers. Let's create a list of integers first. So we will utilize it for findFirst and findAny. Now let's open a stream on this list. So this is a sequential stream which we are opening, and let's apply findFirst terminal operation on it, and let's see what does it return. Control click on this to see what is structure of the method. So you can see that it returns optional of t. What does it mean is there can be no element in the stream in case of empty stream. So it returns an empty optional if there is no element. If there is an element, it will return that particular element, and you can apply if present or get or else methods in order to access the element and do any particular action on the retrieved value. So in case you are not aware or you want more information about optionals, we have already covered optionals in great details in our video. So I would recommend you to watch this video. Well, so what Java documentation says is it returns an optional describing first element of the stream or an empty optional if stream is empty. If stream has no encountered order, then any element may be returned. So in case there is no encountered order maintained, we have already seen the encountered order concept in the previous video. So what is encounter order? It is a predetermined order in which the stream is iterated. So it depends on source of the stream. We saw that array, array list, linked hash set are stream sources who maintain encounter orders. Okay, this is a short circuiting operation. Why? Because if the element is present, then it won't traverse through other elements in the stream. It will return the first element of the stream. That's why it is a short circuiting terminal operation. Well, if that particular element which is selected to return, if it is null, then it throws null pointer exception. Well, now we understand that findFirst will return us the first element in the stream if it is not an empty stream. As this is our stream source, our first element of our stream should be 1. And let's verify it by running some consumer against the optional that we have got. We can run if present method, which we have seen in our optionals video. So if present accepts consumer. Okay, so element such that I'm just printing the element out, saying first element equal to e, and that's it. Let's run this code. You see, as expected, the first element of this stream is nothing but 1. Now let's expand an example for a real life scenario. We are going to find out the first employee, those are having experience less than 10 years. As we have seen already, we have declared an employee service instance over here, which is a static instance, so that we can use it directly in our method. Let's use this employee service instance. So you can see get employees with experience less than. So we can use this method. It will return us a list of employee. So on this, we are opening a sequential stream on which we can fire a findFirst method. So this will return us an optional. Use the same approach. Is equal to, we are just printing this employee. That's simple. Now let's run the code and see the output. You can see the first employee having experience less than 10 years is with employee ID 1, name Rajesh, salary 80,000 and experience 3 years. So well, that works. The similar method to findFirst method is findAny method. What it does is nothing but it will return a random element instead of returning the first element always. Okay, it is non-deterministic. It will return any element. Let's use the numbers again to figure out how the findAny works. Just we will replace findFirst with findAny and we'll see if there is any difference. We are just going to say findAny returned element and I'll say findFirst. So let's go into the official documentation of findAny and confirm what it is. I'll do control click on findAny and you can see it returns an optional describing some element of the stream or an empty optional if stream is empty. If findAny method has selected an element which is null, it will throw null pointer exception. Otherwise, it will return the element it had selected. Going back to our example and let's run the example to see outcome of this first findAny. See, this time it returned the first element itself. So you can see some implementation notes that this behavior of this operation is explicitly non-deterministic. It is free to select any element in the stream. This is to allow maximum performance in parallel operations. The cost is that multiple invocations on the same source may not return the same result. If a stable result is desired, then findFirst method should be used. That is the difference between findFirst and findAny. So it is not guaranteed that it will return this element every time. So shall we try few more invocations of it?
We have executed the same code multiple times, but you can see that every time it is returning the first element itself. And why is it so? It is because we are applying findAny method on sequential stream. To know significance of findAny method, let's try to apply it on parallel stream.
Let's try to create a parallel stream using parallel method on sequential stream, and let's try to run the same code again. You can see that on parallel stream it has returned some different element, but you can see the findFirst, the result is same. So that's the difference between findFirst and findAny. Let's try out findAny method on employees with experience less than 10 years. So I'll just copy the same code. We'll just change this to findAny. findAny selected employee having experience less than 10 years and we are printing that employee out. That's it. So let's run the code and see the result. Selected employee is the same. So we have observed that for sequential stream mostly the result is same. We can try out on parallel stream. The result could be different. Let's see. This is a different employee it has written. So that is the difference between findFirst and findAny. Well, let's move to the next method, anyMatch. This method checks if at least one element matches the condition. To demonstrate this, let's first create a list from which we will open a stream and apply this method and check. So this is a list of numbers from 1 to 7 and let's open a stream on this list. It is a sequential stream and let's apply anyMatch method. So before applying it, let's go to the Java docs of this method to understand the syntax. So this method returns a boolean value and it takes a predicate, which means that it checks if a particular predicate matches on any element of this particular stream. If it does, then it returns true, otherwise it returns false. So this is the description given in the Java docs. Returns whether any element of the string match the provided predicate. So if you are not sure what is predicate, so predicate is a functional interface and it has a functional method test which takes one input as an argument and it returns a boolean. So it is a boolean returning function, and let's apply that particular function over here. So let's write a predicate in such a way that we want to check there is any number greater than 5 in this particular stream. So how do we write this predicate is e such that e greater than 5. What will happen? It will return a boolean. If any of the element matches this condition, it will return true. And one more interesting aspect you need to understand is it is a short circuiting terminal operation. What is the meaning of it? It is nothing but whenever it encounters the first element that is matching the given predicate, it won't search for the rest of the stream. It will short circuit there and it will just return true. Is greater than 5, and let's print the result here. And I'm just printing the result over here. You can see that this method is not called, so we need to give a call in our main method. Just comment out the previous findDemo call, and we have match demo method call, and we are just running the code. Cool. So we see that there are numbers greater than 5, so it returned true. So let's try to give some number which is more than 5. I can simply apply this method in the println statement itself. E such that e greater than 10, and there is no element greater than 10, so false is the output we expected, and we got the output. That's great. We understood the first match variant. So let's figure out another match variants over here. So are there all numbers greater than 5? And I'm using, instead of anyMatch, I'm using allMatch. It is the method which again takes a predicate as an argument and it returns boolean. So it checks whether all elements of the stream matches the provided predicate. It is also a short circuiting operation, meaning as soon as it encounters that any of the element is not matching the predicate, it will basically return false. It need not iterate entire stream. Are there all numbers greater than 5? And we know that no, there are these 5 numbers which are not greater than 5. And we will also have one more statement. We need to say 5 and greater than 0. So we know that all the numbers are greater than 0. So second statement should return true and first statement should return false. Let's see what is the output. So yes, allMatch works as expected. Are there all numbers greater than 5? No. So it returns false. And the second statement, all numbers greater than 0? Yes, all the numbers are greater than 0. So it returns true. Similarly, what we can do is, I'll just copy and paste the same lines and I'll just change it none. Is there any number greater than 10? No. So it returns true. The next method we are going to see is noneMatch. It takes a predicate and it returns a boolean. Just that it checks whether none of the elements should match the given predicate. In that case, it will return true. If any of the element matches the predicate, it will return false. So it is also a short circuiting operation, and now you will understand the reason why. So any number greater than 10, we know that all the numbers are less than 10. On the other hand, I know that all of these numbers are greater than 0. So there is no number less than 0. All are greater than 0. Second call, so I'm changing it to noneMatch, and let's change the predicate to e greater than 0. Let's run the code and see the output. So e greater than 10, is there any element which matches this condition? No, there is no element which is greater than 10. So none of the element match this particular condition. So noneMatch returns true. And on the other hand, is there any element which is greater than 0? Yes, all the numbers are greater than 0, right? We will consider another scenario where, and we are saying less than 0, and here we are saying greater than 5. Let's run the code. And if you see what I have done, we are checking if there any element less than 0. So the answer is yes, there is no element which is less than 0. So it returns true. The question is there any element greater than 10? If I see there is no element which is greater than 10. So the answer is yes, true. And the third question we asked is there any element which is greater than 5? So yes, there are elements greater than 5. So noneMatch returned false because the predicate matches for these two elements. As we have seen this example on stream of integers, now let's see it in a real life project structure. So the example that we are going to consider is, are there any or all or no employees having experience less than 10 years? And we know that we can use employee service, which we have already instantiated on top of the class, right? It is a employee service instance that we can use, and we can simply call the method over here. So employee service dot, I want to get all the employees having experience less than 10 years. So I have a method called as get employees with experience less than, and experience that I want to give is a 10 years. On this list, I will apply stream operation. I'll first call anyMatch. I'll provide a predicate that I want to check if any of the employees having salary greater than 20,000. Okay. So employee such that employee.getSalary is greater than 20,000. We can just store that into boolean anyMatch salary. We'll just print result of this anyMatch. So the question is there any employee having salary greater than 20,000? And the answer is anyMatch salary. Okay, let's run the code and see the result. So yes, there are employees having salary greater than 20,000. Okay, we need not check data set. Cool. Now let's experiment the rest of the methods, that is nothing but allMatch and noneMatch methods. Okay, so I'll copy the same statements, paste it twice. Here I'll just call allMatch, and we will see that whether all the employees are having this particular salary. allMatch salary greater than 20,000, and noneMatch, here I'll allMatch, are all employees having salary greater than 20,000, and noneMatch, is there any employee having salary greater than 20,000? So as we are using noneMatch here, so the question is, isn't there any employee having salary greater than 20,000? And just print noneMatch salary over here. So looks good. Now let's run the code and see. So is there any employee having salary greater than 20,000? It's true. Are all employees having salary greater than 20,000? No, not all employees having salary greater than 20,000. So there are certainly few employees having salary less than 20,000. And isn't there any employee having salary greater than 20,000? Again, this is false, because this condition matches for at least one employee, right? So noneMatch will return false, of course. So I should at least give some condition which none of the employee matches, and the condition is negative salary. Let's have another statement, salary noneMatch negative salary, and that is obvious that nobody will have salary negative. Okay, the condition is salary less than 0, there should be no employee. If there is no employee having this salary, it will return true. Right. Okay, well, so let's run the code and see the result, and bingo, we got the result as expected. So let's quickly summarize what we saw. We saw the findFirst method, which returns the first matching element and it preserves the order. the findFirst method returns optional of the element. It returns an empty optional if there is no element in the string. It throws null pointer exception if first element which was selected is null. Similarly, findAny, it is free to choose any element from the string and it returns that. So it is non-deterministic in parallel streams. You can't guarantee the result in parallel streams. Returns empty optional if there is no element in the string, that is, it is empty string. It throws null pointer exception if the element which is selected by findAny is null. Well, allMatch method checks if all elements satisfy a given condition, given predicate, and it returns a boolean value true or false. anyMatch method, it checks if at least one element satisfies a condition. Lastly, we saw noneMatch method, which checks that no element satisfies a given condition. These are the useful methods which you need to know and you will often use in your project when you are working on data-centric applications. As always, I have structured everything to mimic a real-world project. It is very much useful for the interview preparation as well. You will find all this code that is covered in this session. I'll push this to GitHub. Link to the GitHub repository, you can find it in the description of the video. So I encourage you to clone it, modify it, and play around with different use cases. Let me know in the comments how you are planning to use these methods or if you have already used them in your projects. Next up, we will cover reduction and collection operations. This is one of the most important topics of the stream and frequently asked interview questions as well. So stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep learning, keep coding. Bye bye.